All righty, welcome to Unsafe Spaces. I'm Randy Cross, Season 3, Episode 11 coming up for you right here. Got the usual cast of characters. Heavy emphasis on college football this week with the, seems like a gazillion games, but a lot of really big games in college football this week. Our guest is a little bit different. We've had him on before. It's Antonio Sabato Jr., former actor, former model, Italian immigrant, who is running for Congress in the 26th district out in California. We talked about the whole process last time he was here, but just in the meantime, let's run this little video just to remind you.
Well, he's campaigning for the United States House of Representatives in California's 26th district. Here to tell me more, Antonio Sabato Jr. Right on, my man.
Thank you, brother.
Congrats on winning the primary.
I know, we're in the general.
What inspired you to get into politics? What was the moment?
I love my country. I love the United States.
What are the issues that are most important to you?
Immigration and bringing jobs back to my community and helping these folks who are coming here from all over the world.
The Italian-born Sabato, one of President Trump's most vocal supporters from day one, claiming it nearly cost him his acting career.
You know, my agents left, my manager left, jobs that I had lined up. I've been acting for 30 years, and all of a sudden, because I support this president, I'm going to be tossed on the sideline. That's not right.
So we'll hear from Antonio here coming up in a little bit. But first, a little bit of a commentary having to do with Election Day and voting. And, it's Tuesday during football season. Tuesday means the playoff committee vote comes in. Tuesday night, about 7 o'clock. Well, every 2 years we have this little thing called elections. And tonight, the results will be coming in. And it doesn't matter how you plan on observing the election. Really doesn't matter how you spent the last couple of years since the last election. Going to rallies, wearing black hoodies. Are you highly educated? You didn't get out of high school. You're in high finance. You're in manual labor. You're in high tech. You're in sports. You're in media. You're part of the 1%, or you're struggling your butt off like a lot of us. Do it for your reasons. Get out and vote. Whether you're mad, you're engaged, like I said, whatever your reason, get out and vote. And check out this little advice.
Dear young people,
don't vote.
Don't vote.
Everything's fine the way it is.
Trump. That was us.
He's our guy.
Tax cuts for the rich? Hell yeah. I'm rich as f***.
Climate change? That's a you problem. I'll be dead soon.
Sure, school shootings are sad.
But I haven't been in a school for 50 years.
I can't keep track of which lives matter.
Sure you don't like it.
So, you'll like some meme on Instagram.
If the weather is nice, maybe you could go to one of those little marches.
You might even share this video on Facebook.
But you won't vote.
You young people never do.
But I do. I do.
I do.
Midterms, primaries.
Every single election.
We'll be there, but you won't.
Because we're a generation of doers.
Not whiners.
We're doing great.
I find that a little humorous. Obviously, there's a bit of a political slant to that. But it's true. You've got to get out and you've got to use your vote. And then tonight, as the results come in, you follow along if you choose. You watch something else on TV, or you get away from all the screaming, which is going to be kind of a relief. Our country was an amazing experiment. It really was. And it was a revolt against not a dictatorship, but a monarchy. And we wanted to escape from that. Well, it's very cumbersome. Our system is 3 equal branches, 4 if you count the kind of unbelievably huge and burdensome bureaucracy, but that's another conversation. Hey, your voice is your vote, and your vote is your voice. Use it. Do it. And if you don't, man, you got nothing to complain about. All right, speaking of votes and speaking of using it, we're going to be joined right here by Antonio Sabato Jr., running for Congress in the 26th district out in California. You may know him from his acting and modeling career. but he's making a pretty good run at this thing. Let's talk to Antonio. Hey, we're joined right now by Antonio Sabato Jr. He's running for Congress in the 26th district out in California. And Antonio, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning. Good to be here.
So, needless to say, the whole process last year and a half or so since you decided to do this, how would it be best described?
Well, it's been fascinating. I mean, the people in my county is really they really come up to a place that it's a loving place, it's a caring place. They want a better future. They want a better future for them and their families. And the endorsements that I've had, from the law enforcement, the sheriff department, and everyone included, they want better representation. They want people to go to Washington to fight for them, for the American people and their future. And that's what I'm doing. And we're excited. We're running strong. We're fighting every day, all day long for the American people. This is not about private interest or donors. This is about the future of the families that live in my county and the children that live here and everyone, the American people. And we've been fighting the hard fight, the good fight, and tomorrow it's going to pay off. And we've had our prayers, and everybody. Been going to all the churches and talking to all the community, and they're praying. And I think tomorrow, I believe tomorrow, the country's going to rise up, and it's going to be a red tsunami all the way across from the west to the east, from the north to the south, and we're going to win every single seat. And this is going to be a lesson for the Democratic Party to start believing and fighting for the American people and not themselves.
So you're anticipating a pretty significant turnout, especially in your district.
Yeah, it's just in my district and everywhere else. This is a different election. This is the biggest election of our time, but it's also about common sense. It's about staying away from socialism and people that are taking advantage of the American people. And I believe that they've had enough. They've seen enough. What we've seen with Judge Kavanaugh and everything else in the last 60 days. And so much more. And I think they don't want to go back in the past. They don't want to go back to the Obama years. They want to go ahead. The country is doing better than ever before, militarily, economically, and everything else, domestically and internationally. And I think that why would you want to mess that up? Why would you want to go backwards or change that? We want to keep doing what we're doing and fighting even harder. And if Congress and the Senate doesn't want to help the American people, then they're going to lose all their seats, and we're going to do it on our own. And that's how it's going to be.
We talked a little bit last time you joined me about the reaction sort of within the industry, the entertainment industry. How has that been sort of as you've gone through this? Because everyone's sort of outside of Southern California looks at Southern California as, it's all Hollywood. It's all... But you're in an area that's extremely rural in some parts of it. Other parts of it are very suburban and urban type areas. But the entertainment industry itself is a pretty big deal down there.
Well, it's a pretty big deal in LA, but look what they've done. They've just you talk about the entertainment and the money that they raise in Los Angeles, and the city is a dump. It's one of the worst cities at this point. I mean, the homeless situation, the poverty. If you go to downtown right now, you see a third world country, and this is the United States of America. We have a lot of money to spend for homelessness, and they're using it for themselves and not back to the people. And this is one of the poorest states in the country. Education is falling behind. We're 48 out of 50 states. People are fleeing California. They're not coming in here. They're leaving because they can't live here, taxes and regulations and so much more. So at some point, you got to say, you know what, this is not about the parties. This is not about the colors or the gender. This is about the future of the country and the Constitution. What is best for the American people? What party is there to lower our taxes and making our life easier, not harder? And the answer is the Republican Party is there to fix the problem. We already fixed a lot of problems in 2 years. This administration has done an amazing job. I mean, so the future looks bright. I mean, why would you want to vote for socialism? Why would you want to vote for higher taxes and more regulations? It just doesn't make any sense. And I think the polls are going to speak tomorrow. People are going there to vote for their future and their safety. And the only way to do it is to vote for the Republican Party all across the board, everywhere.
You know, from the time you first declared, you've spoken a lot about immigration, and something of which you know quite well, having yourself been an immigrant, and your parents came over here from Italy. Can you talk a little bit about that angle as far as, you know, what you think you appeal to a lot of the voters and whatnot from that issue standpoint?
Well, I'm a legal immigrant. I came here legally, and I did it twice with my family and I. And back then, the laws that we have on the books today, they were strict. And so if you were coming here, you had to go through some procedures and wait in line and do everything legally by the book. Otherwise, you were not allowed in this country. Now, with all the welfare programs, all the free programs for illegals that come to this country given to them by the Democratic Party, they went too far. And the American people want to feel safe. They don't mind having people come into our country, but you got to come through the front door, and you got to come here legally. You know, we're allowing a million people every single year to come to our country legally. There's a lot of people coming. Our border has been an open border. You know, the sanctuary cities, all these socialist ways from the Democratic Party are very dangerous. Cities like San Francisco are doomed. I mean, it's a toilet bowl in San Francisco right now. I mean, there's human feces, drugs everywhere. I mean, you're talking about from prostitution for homelessness to a level that they've never seen before. This is done by people like Gavin Newsom, who's running for governor. These are people who do not care about the Constitution, who do not care about the law enforcement, who do not care about federal laws of any kind. That's very dangerous. Mm-hmm. And those are the facts. So we want to help the world. We want to help everyone else. And we always do that. And we still are doing that today worldwide. But we got to take care of ourselves. And right now it's America first, and Americans who are here in our country taking care of everybody else, well, they got to come first in my book. And District 26 will be represented after tomorrow by myself, by someone who cares, who's an American, who believes that the American people should come first. And they're relieved by that. And the future looks exciting, and we just got to wait one more day to go, and we get it in the bank.
Now you do win, let's say. You get into Congress. What can you do when it comes to this broken immigration system? Because this isn't something that was broken over the last 2 years. That wasn't something that's been broken over the last 8 years. It's been broken for 25 plus years, and they've kicked it down the road forever. And we're talking Democrats and Republicans.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things that we have to do. The Homeland Security has to be improved. The software that they have is old. We need more people to work for the Homeland Security all the way across the board. We need to build this wall. We need to make our regulations as far as when you cross the border stricter than ever before. You have to come legally, and there's a lot of work to be done. But at the end of the day, you know, we're spending over $100 billion on immigration every year as a country. Mm-hmm. We can use that money for homelessness. We can use that money for the veterans that are dying on their streets and need our help. You know, there's just a lot of things that we could do. But what I could do personally for my District 26 is lower business regulation, lower taxes. What's going on across the board in our nation with you know, the tax cut that we were able to do from the Republican Party, I can do that here. But we need more representatives who are here in California who feel the same way and walking away from socialism and higher taxes and more regulations. That's all they do. So I'm going to change it. And for certain, my county is never going to be a sanctuary county, and I'm going to make sure of that.
Hey, and wouldn't you say that one other thing that needs to stop to a degree is kind of, you mentioned the fleeing from a lot of these states, you know, like California and whatnot, because you've got people that flee that system, that tax system, everything about it. Away. Yeah, but they go other places, and then they're voting to reenact the same kind of policies in their new states that didn't have taxes in some cases.
Well, yeah, they've been saying that for a while because they want to scare everybody off. But the reality is people are leaving the state to find a better way of life. where they feel more comfortable for them and their family, and they're well protected, like Texas, like Georgia, like Florida. These are red states with lower regulations for businesses and less taxes for everyone. And that's where they're going to. California used to be like that. This used to be the golden state. Now it's the dark state, where people are afraid to come here because they can't afford to live here. So they have to live far away from the hubs, from the center of the cities. Then they have to drive. The traffic is really high. I mean, it's just the way of life. These politicians in Sacramento and in D.C. do not care about the American people. It doesn't. You don't have to be a brain surgeon to figure these things out. It's just common sense. Follow the law. Make lives a lot easier for everyone who live in your district or your state or your country, so they can have a better life. They can go back to work. They can spend their money, have better Christmases and holidays, and just have vacations, and it's just bring smile to their faces, not the opposite. And so I'm looking forward to that. There's a lot of work to be done because in my county, the person who I'm running against has never done anything. She doesn't even live in my county. She's never lived in Ventura County. We need to have representatives who are here, who go to our churches, who go to our Coffee Beans or Starbucks and our local places, who hang out with the local folks, because who understands more about the farmers and what they need than me, because I've been here 16 years. I know them personally. Our law enforcement, my police officers in Oxnard, which is one of the cities that I'm associated with, that I love so much, they need a lot of work. They need more funds. They need this. They need that. So who's going to get it done? I'm going to get it done, not these other people who only care for themselves, for their parties. You know, they raise money for their party, for the Democratic Party, for every election. These are taxpayer money given to them by the people who elected them. This is not for them. This is for the American people. And so my county is going to be a whole lot different after tomorrow, and I'm excited because I'm going to be doing so much work. I'm eager to do it. I have the energy and the will. I'm going to change things around, and the people are behind me, and they're very excited. So we're going to win big tomorrow.
All right. Good luck. Best of luck there in the 26th district out there in California. Hopefully things go well for you. We've been talking a little bit about the most important thing out there is, you know, your vote is your voice, and your voice is your vote. And hopefully people get that message and they use it.
I hope so. And, you know, I feel optimistic about it because the American people are fed up, and they've seen what these socialists, what these Democrats can do, and it's very dangerous, and they don't want it. They don't want it at the border, and they don't want it in their homes, and they don't want it in their neighborhoods. And that's where you have to elect Republicans all across the board because they're the only ones that care.
All right. Thank you, Antonio. Really appreciate you joining me.
Thank you, guys.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, thank you so much to Antonio Sabato Jr. Good luck to you. Good luck to California. Heck, good luck to all of us. Perfect time now to go to Unsafe Spaces Sports. All righty. How about some unsafe sports? How about some unsafe spaces sports? As promised, it's going to be heavy college football because it was an unbelievable week. Biggest game of the week, obviously, was Alabama and LSU, but there was a heck of a lot more than just that one game. So we'll go over some of the big ones right now. First one up, Alabama and LSU. Very highly anticipated, and as a lot of us anticipated, it wasn't really that big of a game or as good of a game. Alabama is otherworldly. Unless they have a titanic bad day, I don't see them losing to anybody in college football. At home at Alabama, on the road, doesn't matter. This might be one of the best teams we've ever seen in college football. Next up, Michigan, a team that started the season off by losing to Notre Dame, but since then has won 8 in a row. They absolutely shellacked and paid back Penn State. Last year, Penn State ran up the score on them at Happy Valley. This year, they ran up the score on Penn State. Good stuff by Jim Harbaugh and company. See if they can finish this whole thing off in the next few weeks. University of Georgia. This was one heck of a game. They ran the ball well. They played great defense, 34-17. was the score on that one, and it was something to see. So now Bama wins the West, Georgia wins the East, and like last year, instead of being a meeting in the national championship game, they meet in the SEC championship game in Atlanta the first week of December. Next up on the scoreboard is Clemson and Louisville, and that is not a typo. That is not wrong. Yes, 77 points, also known as 11 touchdowns versus 16 points. And that was an absolute trouncing of Bobby Petrino and the Louisville Cardinals. Watch out for Clemson. Clemson's a team that might, now I say might, be the kind of team that can give an Alabama a good game. The way that they're starting to play, the way their offense is starting to play and produce points like that. The defense scores too, and the defense is very, very good. Keep an eye on Clemson. Next up, Notre Dame, everybody's little darling. Notre Dame played Northwestern, beat them 31-21. I know a lot of alums for Notre Dame were very worried about this one. Seems like every week they've got a history and have to worry about somebody. I'll be honest, I don't believe in Notre Dame. I just don't think, even if they go undefeated through their regular season, that they're of the same quality of the Clemsons and the Alabamas and the Georgias. I could be wrong. God knows I've been wrong enough. But Notre Dame, and this week, took out Northwestern. Next up on the hit parade, how about West Virginia and Texas? You think there was any offense in this one? 42-41. Texas got to be frustrated as heck. They had everything right there to take advantage of it to win this game and to ruin basically West Virginia's year. Now West Virginia moves up in the polls, and they have the inside track to be the team coming out of the Big 12 if everything goes the way that Dana Holgorsen and the Mountaineers plan it to go. But great performance, great game. They pulled it out right there at the end. Next game up, also in the Big 12, Oklahoma played Texas Tech. And in typical Oklahoma-Texas Tech fashion, it was a shootout. 51-46. 51-46. Are you kidding me? Anybody play defense these days? And I don't care anywhere in the country, besides the SEC, besides Alabama. I mean, man, come on. Well, I'll give Clemson a nod. Clemson's got a pretty good D. All right, next up, Missouri and Florida. Going into this game, you might have thought, hey, Florida's going to have a bounce back after that game against Georgia. Wrong. Drew Lock and Missouri got all over Florida, 38-17. So that does it for Florida's chances of pretty much competing for any kind of attention. Missouri, they're still on the chase for a good year, but on this week, that was one heck of a job. Now, one of the games of the week that I didn't see coming, because I thought Texas A&M was going to beat Auburn, just going by the body of work Auburn had put out there. And A&M had their spots, but Auburn did a great job. Kudos to Gus Malzahn and his football team to come back and win the way they did. It was 24-14, I guess, with about, 3 minutes to go, 3.5 minutes to go. And Auburn comes back, stops them, gets a turnover, stops them. Suddenly you look up, it's 28-24. Kellen Mond and Texas A&M at the very end had sort of a last gasp effort, but Auburn was up to it, and that was one heck of a football game. And that was a great weekend for college football. More coming up this weekend, and you can't ask for a better year, because I think it's going to be one of the better years we've seen in college football. And we might be getting a chance, like I said earlier, a chance to watch one of the greatest teams in the history of college football play and what this Bama team is doing. Hey, also in the world of sports, and this is off the track of the main ones, because we only talk about this sport every 4 years, and it's Olympic sport, and it's gymnastics, and it takes place the same time as all the other summer sports. But Simone Biles, if you saw her at the last Olympics, you have to talk about what this young lady did at the World Championships Okay, think about this. 4 golds, 1 silver, 1 bronze. She medaled in every single event, including the team event. Just unbelievable. Check out this video.
For her second attempt, from the USA, Simone Biles.
Wow. What an incredible athlete. What an incredible young woman. And congratulations to her. Heck, congratulations to USA Gymnastics in general. That has been in the news for a lot of really terrible reasons. But Simone Biles and them brought the attention back to the actual gymnastics side with that incredible performance. Congratulations. Time now for our feel-good story of the week.
I'm on top of the world, hey. I'm on top of the world, hey. 'Cause I'm on top of the world, hey. I'm on top of the world, hey. I'm on top of the world.
And this story is a little something locally out of Johns Creek, Georgia. And when I first saw it, I challenge you to watch this and not have this tug at your heart, because this is one incredible story about an autistic boy and his dog. Check this out.
You got a friend of me.
They're just like peanut butter and jelly. How does Zena make you feel inside, Johnny?
Happy.
She makes you feel happy inside?
Yes.
They really do everything together. Anything that he's doing, she's right there next to him. What do you do with her?
Go running with my dad.
Zena wants to go for a run. He doesn't run, but he's in a jogging stroller, and she is with him. So he's out there high-fiving everyone that's coming towards him.
High five. Dad, high five.
He did.
And it really is quite great because Johnny actually gets out there into the world, which that was a tough thing before her. Zena was dumped in somebody's yard in a county next to ours. She was completely emaciated, and miraculously she survived. Just to show her love that she clearly never received on this planet. You're so cute. What do you think she says, Johnny?
I love you.
She says, I love you.
Yes.
What do you say back to her?
I love you too, Zena.
I think because of what she went through in her previous life, before our family, that she just needs kind human contact. And so Johnny, who doesn't want that, she insists upon it. Johnny doesn't really have a group of friends, unfortunately, so Zena really is his friend. They complement one another. The two of them coming together really, I think, has set an example for acceptance, you know, and understanding.
What a great story. Johnny and Zena. I love that they go together like peanut butter and jelly. What a fantastic story. And here's your contact information as it comes to their Spread the Word Foundation here in Johns Creek, Georgia. It's worth checking out. Give it a look. All right. Hey, want to go now and remind you where you found this show, how you can find this show in the future. I do, before we do that, want to recognize one of our viewers, Kim Williams, actually in England. She sent a request for some pictures and whatnot. I hope she's gotten them. And just really want to say thanks to her and her kids for checking out our unsafe spaces, and I hope you enjoyed this one, Kim. This is it's been kind of fun. Hey, want to remind you, where do you find Unsafe Spaces? Well, you go to unsafespacesusa.com, you go to randycross.com. If you have any input, producer at unsafespacesusa.com. All those other outlets, you can find this podcast. That'll do it. And I hope you enjoyed this. This is going to be a little holiday season. Happy trails, fails.
Happy trails.